Garry Kasparov launches a well-planned attack against Daniel Campora in this game, which leads to his victory. Kasparov is starting with the Queen's Gambit. So after the knight jumps to c3, this is the Queen's Gambit now being played, and d5 is played by Daniel, who is playing with the black pieces, and Kasparov is playing with the white pieces. So c into d5 is played, and the pawn takes the pawn back, and bishops come to g5, pinning this knight against the queen here. So because of this, the knight cannot move, and the bishop goes to e7, and protecting the knight from any captures, and which will allow the king to come in, and without that you couldn't move your king. This also allow Daniel to castle on the king side as well. So e3 is played by Kasparov, and Daniel immediately castles on the king side after the sixth move. Kasparov continues his development with the bishop to d3 move, placing his light square bishop on this light square diagonal, which is pretty open. And knight comes to d7 by Daniel, and knight to e2 by Kasparov. And after that, rook goes to e8 by basically Daniel, and the queen comes to c2, and knight to f8 is played by Daniel, trying to protect this weak pawn or at the h7 square. So after that, Kasparov castles on the queen side basically. So here, as you can see, Daniel castle on the king side, Kasparov castle on the queen side, and there is not much activity on the queen side right now, and Kasparov pieces are already pointed at the uh, on the king side basically, and so we are looking at a very good attacking game. And bishop goes to e6, and after that the king moves away to b1 from this semi open line, which could be launched opened up to launch attack. And after that, the knight comes to g4 with the intent of exchanging this bishop. And after that, Kasparov just exchanged the bishop, and after that the knight to gf4 move is played, trying to capture this bishop and attacking this bishop. So now Daniel just retrieves his knight to f6, and basically, as you can see, this knight earlier came in here and then retreat back to f6 as well. So f3 is played by Kasparov now with the intent of pushing in g4, and later on pushing in c5, getting ready for the attack on the queen side as well. So c5 is played by Daniel, trying to open up and trying to open the c line, and also creating a counter attack on the queen side. Kasparov, like, he just ignores that and just go for g4, launching his own attack on the queen side. So after c into d4, the pawn gets taken back, and the queen comes to d6, attacking this knight, which is undefended right now. Kasparov places his queen to d2, and a6 is played by Daniel with the intent of playing in b5, later on launching his own attack. So the knight comes to e2 now, reorienting the knight Kasparov, and also you can see the c line is pretty much open here, and all the rooks and the queen can be mobilized through that particular uh, open c line. Here now the rook to e7 move is played. So basically, it was better to push in this pawn to b5, but rook to e7 was played by Daniel, and knight goes to g3. So this knight jumped from here to here to here, reorienting the knight, getting ready for the attack. So knight to g6 is played by Daniel, but actually the pawn push of g6 was better. So knight to g2 by Kasparov, because this knight was attacked twice, and you didn't want to exchange that knight as of now. So knight to d7 by Daniel, and but it was better to play the h6 move, preventing protecting this square from from any attacks or anything basically. But after that, Kasparov places his rook on g1, pointing it on the king basically, and the rook now goes to e8. Now, as earlier, like the knight jumped from losing two moves, the rook came in here and just went back and losing two moves. So Kasparov got more than enough time to plan his attack. So rook to f1 by Kasparov, positioning his final rook piece. Now, once the knight goes to f8, as you can see, all these squares, all these pieces are actually angled on the uh, angle on the king side, getting ready to attack. So now the knight goes to e3, and the king goes to head shade, getting away from this f and g lines on which the rooks are placed, and knight to h5 by Kasparov. And as you can see, it was better to place your queen here, attacking both these squares at the same time. It will be a threat, threat on the king, and also this pawn is undefended. But that didn't happen, and this pawn push of g6 was played, and Kasparov just ignores that and just pushes f4 with the intent of pushing the pawn again. Once this pawn is taken, you can push this pawn and win the bishop, and so it was not a sacrifice. So after that, the pawn takes the bishop, and now the pawns takes the pawn back, and you loses a pawn temporarily. But as you can see, both the rooks, the queen and the bishop are very good position on open square, commanding a lot of space, and the rook can just support this pawn, pushing into the starting the attack. So g5 is played by Kasparov, and rook to e7 is now played, and knight jumps to g4 by Kasparov, and rook goes to g7, attacking the pawn and defending the king, and knight jumps to h6 by Kasparov, getting ready to for the attack, and now queen to b6 is played, and g6 is now played by Kasparov, and opening up the rook line attack. And after the capture of the pawn by the pawn, actually it was better to capture with your knight here. It would have kept this king a little bit safe, and also would have activated the rook as well. And knight into f7 plus is played, and king to g8 now. And after that, queen to h6 by Kasparov, threatening checkmate here. So the rook come to h7, and now Kasparov's plays rook into g6 plus, actually. So earlier, because instead of this move, he could have even captured the rook like this, and the following combination would have happened. And there is a mate here, so I'll just show you that quickly. And after the following move, it will be a beautiful checkmate on the board with the support of the bishop here. So that sacrifice by sacrificing the rook was possible, but Kasparov didn't go for that line and captures this pawn with his rook. A less riskier move. The knight captures, and the queen captures back, and with a check, and the rook covers the check, and Kasparov goes back to h6, threatening checkmate again. So actually, in this position, Daniel resigned the game, and a following combination will happen. So if you capture the knight with your rook, and the check will happen like this, and there is nowhere else for the king to go, so the rook have to guard it, and the checkmate will happen like this. So brilliant play by Kasparov. He just attacked on the king side very patiently, and he was also given enough time by Daniel because of his wasting moves with the knight and the rook. So I hope you like the game. We'll be back with more such videos.